Hi everyone, my name is Deidre and I'm a military fitness and sports instructor in Petawawa. Today I'm going to be leading you through a flow yoga class. Take it at your own pace, rest when you need to, option to come into child's pose, like so. Or just coming down onto your back at any point in time that you feel like you need a recovery. We're going to be laying on our backs. You're going to want your legs out nice and long, and then your arms are going to be down on either side of your body with your palms facing up. Start by lifting up the shoulder blades from the mat and then placing them back down. And then tucking the chin slightly into your chest to get a nice long line at the back of your neck. Let your toes and fingers lay heavy on the mat. Option to maybe wiggle the hips from side to side so that you're in a comfortable position. And then closing down the eyes, just taking a moment to relax and set into the tone for your practice. Taking some nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Start to bring a little bit more awareness back into your body. Maybe deepening your breath slightly. And then wiggling through the fingers and the toes, rolling out through the wrists and or the ankles. And then taking your head from side to side, nice and slow, just getting some movement back in through the neck. From here, you're going to bend your knees and plant both feet on the floor. Adjust your hips so that your low back is pressing firmly into the floor. From here, you're going to take both knees into your chest, coming into a small little ball. Option to stay still or rock from side to side. If you've decided to rock from side to side, come back through stillness. And then you're going to take your left leg and extend it straight up to the ceiling, keeping your right knee tucked in. From here, slowly and with control, you're going to lower your left leg all the way down to the mat, letting your heel rest on the floor. Try to keep active through both toes on both feet, so flexing your toes back towards your shin. Trying to keep your hips level. From here, you're going to take your right leg and extend it straight up towards the ceiling, and your grip is going to come in behind your hamstring. Keeping the shoulders planted on the floor. And for one big breath, you're going to inhale and crawl your fingers all the way up towards your ankle. Shoulders are going to lift off to the floor. And then exhaling to walk the hands back down. You're going to bend through your left knee to plant your left foot down on the mat. And then come through figure 4. So your right ankle is coming to the top of the left knee. Still flexing through that right foot. Option to stay here or elevate the left foot, grabbing around the back of the hamstring with your hands, coming through another variation of figure 4. And then from here, you're going to let your left foot go back down to the floor, releasing the grip. Arms are going to come out to either side of your body into a T position. Fully cross your right leg over top of your left leg. Hips are going to be coming up and over to the right side of the mat, and your knees are going to fall down to the left. Gaze is going to stay up at the ceiling. Just a nice release in this twist. Keeping those nice deep breaths going in and out of the nose. From here, knees are going to come back through center. You're going to uncross and then hug both knees back into your chest. Again, option to stay here in stillness or slightly rock from side to side. And then coming back through stillness, if you've decided to rock, you're going to take the grip around your left leg, extend your right leg straight up, and then slowly with control lower the right leg all the way down to the floor so that your heel's resting. Again, both toes are flexing back towards the shin, keeping that engagement. Trying to square through the hips. So that may mean trying to elevate your right hip up and pull your left hip down. From here, you're going to extend that left leg straight up, keeping the engagement through the feet. And your grip is coming in behind the hamstring. One breath, inhale, you're going to rise up. Hands are walking up towards the ankle. And then exhale, walking the hands back down. Bending through that right knee, right foot plants coming through figure 4. Again, activation through the feet. Option to stay here with your right foot planted or bring your clasp in behind your right leg, elevating your foot off the floor. Right foot's going to plant back down to the floor if you've decided to lift. Arms are coming out into that T position, and your left leg is fully crossing over your right leg. You're going to pick up your hips and move them to the left slightly, and then your knees are going to drop down to the right. Gaze stays towards the ceiling, keeping a nice long line through the back of the neck, and coming through a slight twist in the low back. Knees are going to come back through center and then uncrossing the knees, squaring off through the hips, hug both the knees back into your chest. Option again to rock from side to side or stay still in the center. And then coming through happy baby, you're going to take option the ankles, the outer edges of the feet, or you can grab onto your big toes, driving the bottom of your feet up towards the ceiling. Low back is pressing into the floor, keeping a nice long line at the back of the neck. Chin is slightly tucked in towards the chest. Trying to pull your knees down towards your armpits. Legs are going to come up towards the ceiling, releasing your grip. If you have, you're just going to roll over onto either side and come in through a tabletop position. If not, the option is to rock up and down the length of the spine just a couple times, and then you're going to cross your ankles and roll through into a tabletop position. Your wrists are going to be stacked right underneath your shoulders, and your hips and knees are going to be bent at 90 degrees. From here, you're going to drop your belly down and extend your gaze up towards the ceiling. And then tucking your chin into your back, into your chest, rounding your back. Drop the belly, extend the gaze. Trying to move through one vertebrae at a time. Firmly pressing through the palms of your hands. Tuck the chin around the back. Drop the belly, extend the gaze. Tuck the chin around the back. Coming back through a neutral position, tabletop. From here, you're going to come in through thread the needle. So your left hand is going to come just around underneath your face, and then your right hand is going to reach up as far as you can, and then you're going to weave your right arm underneath the left side of your body. Firmly pressing through your left hand to get more into that twist. Big opening through the upper back. Firmly press into that left hand, opening up all the way, and then plant your hand down on the mat. Same thing, other side. Right hand comes towards the midline of the body. You're going to open up towards the left, and then thread that left arm underneath the right side of the body. Firmly pressing to the right hand this time. Pressing into that right hand, opening up, and then placing the hand down underneath the shoulder. You're going to tuck your toes under and then press back and up to downward facing dog. Option here to pedal out through the knees a few times, trying to drive one heel into the floor as you bend either knee. Coming back through stillness, pressing both heels firmly down. You're going to come up onto the tippy toes of your feet and then press your hips back. Lower the heels down, press both heels firmly down. Again, coming up to the tippy toes, pressing the hips back. Lower the heels down. Last time, heels come up, coming onto the tippy toes. Heels are firmly rising. And then you're going to lower back down. Slight bend to the knees. Your gaze is going to come between your thumbs. You're going to slowly walk your feet up towards the top of your mat. Inhale to take a halfway lift. Hands are going to come to the shins. Palms are firmly pressing into the shins here. Nice flat back. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, you're going to rise all the way up. Arms are coming up and overhead. Exhale, hands are going to come down on either side of the body. We're going to move through 5 rounds of Sun Salutation A. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Fingertips can be planted or hands can come to the shins. Exhale to fold. You're going to step back into your plank. Wrists are stacked underneath the shoulders. And then lowering the knees, hips, chest down to the floor. You're going to untuck your toes. Hands are going to stay in beside your rib cage. And then pulling your hands back towards your feet, you're going to slowly pull your chest forward into a baby cobra. Exhale to release down. And then tucking the toes under, pressing back from tabletop to downward facing dog. Gaze comes forward. You're going to bend your knees and step your right foot forward, followed by your left. Inhale for that halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rising all the way up. Arms are reaching up and overhead. Exhale, arms float down beside the body. 4 more. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, stepping back to your plank. Option to lower from the knees, or this time, option to come through a hover, keeping the elbows nice and close towards your body. Inhale, coming through either baby cobra, cobra with your thighs planted, or upward facing dog with your thighs lifted off the floor. Tucking the chin into the chest, downward facing dog. Gaze comes forward, bend through the knees. Left foot steps forward, followed by your right foot. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rising all the way up. Arms reach up and overhead. Exhale, arms float down beside the body. Moving a little bit faster. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold, step back to plank. And then choosing your option to lower all the way or to hover. Inhale, choosing your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Gaze comes forward between the thumbs. Slight bend through the knees. Step with your right foot followed by your left foot all the way to the top. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rising all the way up. Exhale, arms float down. 2 more. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to step back and lower down all in one breath. Inhale, pulling the chest forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Gaze comes forward, bend through the knees. Left foot steps forward, followed by your right foot. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, reaching all the way up and overhead. Exhale, arms float down. Last time through. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, this time I'm going to give the option to jump back. If you're jumping back, you're going to land down in the bottom of your push-up. Inhale, reaching that chest forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Option to step or hop to the top of the mat. If you're hopping, you're going to bend your knees both at the same time and almost act like you're going to spring forward. So knees are bent, gaze comes forward, and then you're hopping nice and light to the top of the mat. Exhale to fold. Inhale, brings you all the way up. Exhale, arms float down. 2 rounds through Sun Salutation B. Give yourself a little bit of room at the top of your mat, foot and a half. Inhale, you're gonna sit down in your chair pose. Arms are reaching up and overhead. Gaze can be forward or up at your fingertips. Exhale to fold down, straightening the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to either step or float back. Inhale to pull the chest forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot rises. Hips are square to the mat, so try not to open up through the knee and the toe. Keep everything square to the floor. And then you're going to roll forward, stepping your right foot inside your right hand. Staying on the ball of your back foot, you're going to rise up into crescent lunge. Gaze is forward. Front leg is strong. Inhale, get long. Exhale, fold. You're going to plant your hands to either side of your front foot. Step back to your plank. Choose your way of lowering down, knees or toes, and then coming through a back bend. Exhale to a downward facing dog. Left foot rises. Hips are square. Rolling forward, step the foot inside the left hand. Back foot stays square forward, heel is lifted, rising up, crescent lunge. Inhale, lengthening through the upper body. Exhale to fold forward, stepping back to your plank, lowering down, and then pulling the chest forward for your choice of back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Gaze comes forward between the thumbs. Option to step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale for your half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, coming up into your chair pose. Bend the knees, sink the hips. Arms are reaching up and overhead. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, arms float down on either side of the body. One more time, just like that. Bend the knees, sink the hips. Arms sweep up and overhead. Exhale, straighten the legs, plant the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to step or float back. Inhale, pulls the chest forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot rises, hips are square. Rolling forward, stepping the foot inside the right hand. Staying on the ball of your back foot. You're rising up through crescent lunge. Deep lunge into that front leg. Inhale to get long through the upper body. Exhale to fold. Step back. Lowering down. Pulling the chest forward. Exhale to your downward facing dog. Left foot rises, hips are square, rolling forward, stepping your foot inside your left hand, rising up, crescent lunge, on the ball of the back foot. Inhale to get long. Exhale, fold forward, step back, lowering through your option. Inhale, upward facing dog, cobra or baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Gaze comes forward, bending through the knees, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale to fold. Inhale is going to bring you back to that chair pose. Bend the knees, sink the hips, arms are up and overhead. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, arms float down either side of the body. Pausing here in mountain pose at the top of your mat. Gaze is forward. Palms are facing forward or resting on the outside of your thighs. Option to close down the eyes and take a moment to reset. Make sure you give yourself about 1 foot to 1.5 feet at the top of your mat, opening up your eyes, and with your right foot you're going to take about a 5-foot step back. From here, you're going to spin all toes towards the long side of your mat. So you're in a fairly wide stance. From here, we're going to come through different flow variations, moving on either side of the body. So starting with the left toes pointing forward, you're going to bend your knee and come through Warrior Two. Gaze is going to be forward over your front fingertips and try to stack your shoulders over top of your hips. You're going to flip your front palm and then bring your back hand towards your low back, wrapping your hand in and behind, and then reaching up and back for peaceful or exalted warrior. Coming back through Warrior Two. And then front forearm is going to come through front knee. Top arm is going to reach up and overhead, coming through side angle. Opening up through the chest. Rising back up through Warrior Two. Straightening your front leg. And then left toes are going to come to point towards the long side of your mat again. Right toes are going to point towards the back of your mat, sinking down for Warrior Two. Front palm is going to flip, back hand comes to your low back. Inhale, reaching up and overhead, coming through peaceful or extended side angle. Coming back through Warrior Two. And then moving through side angle. Front elbow comes to front knee, top arm is going to reach up and overhead, opening up through the chest, getting a nice long line through the side body. Inhale brings you back through warrior two. Exhale to straighten your front leg. Toes are going to point again towards the long side of the mat. Inhale to get nice and long through your upper body. Exhale to fold forward. Your hands are going to come underneath your shoulders. Inhale, halfway lift, gaze comes forward. Exhale to fold any amount that's comfortable for you. So the goal here is to bring your hands in between both of your feet. Elbows are staying tucked in. Think of chaturanga elbows or a really, really narrow push-up. Firmly pressing through your hands, and think of almost rounding through your low back. Inhale, you're going to crawl your hands forward for a halfway lift. And then hands are going to come towards your hips. Inhaling to come all the way back up through standing. Arms are coming out long to either side of the body. Left toes towards the front of the mat. Sinking down through warrior two. Top hand's going to flip. Back hand comes to the low back, reaching up and overhead. Coming back through warrior two. This time you're going to straighten your front leg and then reach as far forward with your left hand as you can. Till you can't reach anymore, you're going to lower your bottom hand to the floor and your top hand comes towards the ceiling for triangle pose. Think of stacking your shoulders one on top of the other. So try not to really reach back with that top hand. Keep everything stacking on top of each other. From here, slight bend to that front knee, rising back up through warrior two. Straighten your front leg. Toes come towards the long side of the mat. Coming through the same thing on the other side, right toes towards the back of the mat, sinking down into your warrior two. Coming through exalted warrior, front palm flips, back hand to the low back, reaching up and overhead. Coming back through warrior two. Inhale to straighten your front leg. Exhale to reach as far as you can. When you can't reach any further, coming through triangle. Again, thinking of stacking your shoulders on top of each other instead of reaching back. Slight bend through that front knee, rising back up through warrior two. Inhale to stand. Exhale, toes come to the long edge of the mat. This time you're going to reach your arms back behind you and interlace your fingers together. So hands are going to be clasped. From here, option to stay with your hands on your low back, or if it's comfortable for you, you're going to extend to the elbows and opening up through the chest. From here, gaze is going to come forward and up. Inhale. And then exhale to fold forward. Option to keep the hands on the low back or extend the arms away from the back chain of the body. Think of letting the shoulders roll in here. So try not to keep the chest super pulled back. Let the shoulders roll in and let the head hang. If this is uncomfortable for you, option to bring your hands down underneath the shoulders. If you've brought your hands underneath your shoulders, you're going to bring your hands onto your hips again to stand up. If not, you're going to use your hands to pull your chest all the way back up through standing. Release to the grip. Arms are coming out long on either side again. Left toes coming towards the front of the mat, sinking down for warrior two. Front palm flips, back hand comes to the low back, reaching up and overhead. Inhale brings you through warrior two. Straightening that front leg, coming back through triangle, reach, reach, reach as far as you can, and then hinging forward. Again, stacking the shoulders on top of each other. Little change this time. Slight bend to your front leg. Your fingertips are going to come just out in front of that foot. And then you're going to drag your back toes up into half moon. Hips are going to be open towards the long side of the mat. If you fall out, try to reset. Slowly bend into your front knee. Back toes are going to find the back of the mat, and then you're going to come in through peaceful warrior again. Warrior 2. Straighten your front leg. Toes point towards the long side of the mat. And then coming onto the right side. Right toes point towards the back of the mat, sinking down for warrior 2. Front palm flips, back hand to the low back, reaching up and overhead. Coming back through warrior 2. Straightening the front leg, reaching far forward. When you can't reach any further, hinging forward, reaching for the floor. Shoulders are stacking one on top of the other. Again, coming through that balancing pose, so slight bend into your front knee. Front fingertips are looking to go in front of the toe. And then nice and slowly, you're going to drag your back toes along the mat until they lift off, and then you come through half moon. Slight bend, slow release of your back foot to the back of the mat, reaching up and overhead for peaceful warrior. Coming back through warrior 2. Straightening your front leg. Toes go towards the long side of the mat. This time, option, we're going to bring the hands again back behind our body, but you're going to grab on with the opposite grip, so most likely the awkward way of gripping your hands. Inhale, you're going to pull the chest forward, opening up, and then exhale, leading with the chest to fold forward. Again, letting the shoulder heads roll in. If it's not an option for you to release your hands from the low back, that's okay. And again, if this is uncomfortable for you, hands can come just underneath the shoulders. Last breath in. Stay for the exhale. Inhale to pull the chest all the way forward. Coming back to reset. Releasing the hands down to either side of your body. You're going to flip your front toes towards the front of the mat, and then you're just going to step back towards the top of the mat. Inhale to lift your arms up and overhead. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. You're going to step back to your plank and hold. Heels are pressing towards the back of the room. Wrists are stacked underneath the shoulders. And then from here, you're just going to lower your knees down to the floor. Cross your legs. And then sit back on your butt. We're going to move through 3 rounds of back bends. So it's going to be bridge variations. So you'll come down onto your back. Feet are going to be about hip distance apart. And you want to be able to touch your heels with your fingertips. From here, your gaze is going to be up at the ceiling. Chin is slightly tucked into the chest. And you want to really engage through the core. You're going to inhale and lift your hips up, pressing your palms and heels firmly into the floor. Holding and breathing here in this position. Think of rolling your inner thighs out. So really engaging. Screwing your feet into the floor. Last breath here, inhale. Exhale brings you all the way back down to the floor. So that's option 1. You're welcome to stay with that for the next 2 sets. Or option 2, we're going to set up the same way. So palms are pressing into the floor, feet are hip distance apart, engaging through the core. Inhale to rise up. And then this time you're going to interlace your fingers underneath your back and then roll your shoulder heads in. Pinkies are going to be pressing into the floor here. Palms are going to be pretty close together, and think of driving through the heels to get your hips up nice and high. Holding here. Last breath in. Releasing the clasp. Exhale all the way down. One more set just like that. Choose your option. If you're going in for the clasp, you're going to again grab the awkward way this time. So opposite thumb on top. Setting. Inhaling, lifting the hips one last time. Choose your option. If you're clasping the hands together, your pinky edges of your hands are firmly pressing into the mat. Heels are driving into the floor. Hips are pressing up. Knees are forward. Inner thighs are rolling up and out. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath in. Releasing the clasp. Exhale to lower all the way back down to the floor. Taking a moment to reset. Option 2, let the knees fall open from side to side, getting some movement in through the hips and low back. Bringing the knees back through center. We're going to set up for figure 4. Right leg crosses, the right ankle crosses over your left knee. And then option again to stay here with your left foot planted on the floor if this is enough for you. Or option to interlace again your hands behind that left hamstring. Both toes are still working, flexed back towards your shins, and your hips are squaring to the mat. So try not to lift one or the other hip off the mat. Keep everything square. Think of pressing your right knee away from your body, really opening through the hips. Slowly releasing the hamstring if you've held on. Again, arms are going to come into that T, coming back through our spinal twist. Your right leg fully crosses over your left leg. Hips are going to move over towards the right, and your knees are going to drop down to the left. This time you have the option to stay here, or you can take your gaze over your right shoulder and bring your left hand onto your outer right leg, deepening the stretch just a little bit from where we started. Keep a nice consistent breath coming in and out of the nose. Your gaze is going to come back through center. You're going to release the outer thigh if you've held on. Legs are going to come back through center, squaring out the hips, uncrossing the legs. And then coming through figure four, left ankle onto right knee. Option to keep the right foot on the floor or lifting the foot up. Again, really pressing that left knee away from the midline of the body. Both hips are square to the floor. Feet are active. Releasing the clasp if you've held on to the hamstring. Foot plants down, arms are coming open into a T. Fully cross the left leg over the right this time. Hips are moving towards the left and your knees are dropping down to the right. Option to keep your gaze at the ceiling or taking your gaze over your left shoulder and bringing your right hand onto the outer part of your left leg. Bringing your gaze back through center, releasing the grip from the outer leg. Knees come back through center, squaring out the hips as you release that leg back down to the floor. Hug both knees into your chest. Staying still or option to rock side to side. And then one last time, coming through happy baby, option to grab onto the ankles, outer feet, or big toes. Trying to drive your low back into the floor here. Chin is slightly tucked into the chest. Option to close down the eyes. And then slowly releasing one leg at a time down to the mat. Coming through our final resting posture. Toes are going to roll open to either edge of the bottom of the mat. Palms are facing up. Arms are long on either side of your body. Eyes are closed. Fingers and toes are soft. And just taking a moment to be still in this moment. Take as much time as you need to in this resting position today. When you decide that you are ready to come out of the pose, slowly wiggle your fingers and your toes and bring small movements back into your body before coming up through a seated position. I thank you all for coming to move with me today, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks, guys.